Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cut to the Chase Sports Podcast, where we bring unique insight and analysis behind your favorite teams at the collegiate and professional levels. I'm your host, Chase Shantz. Got to my right over there, Matt Rickus. What's good, Matt?
What's up, man? I'm excited. Ready to talk some football.
Yes, sir. Down below, we got Brady. What's going on?
Not too much, man. Just getting through this fine Tuesday evening, and ready to roll. Excited.
Say the least on that one, man. I mean, we got a lot to talk about. It's been obviously another crazy weekend. Second full weekend that we had both the National Football League and college football in play. Before we get into things, obviously go follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Go look at us on TikTok. Basically, every platform possible. We got, new episodes, new things coming out for you guys. So just stay tuned with that. Thank you guys for 130 subscribers. We keep growing, keep reaching newer heights. And, we got some more things coming for y'all. So thank y'all for that. But without further ado, we will get right into the college football reactions portion of the show. Go for about 30 minutes, and then we'll switch over to the NFL. But I want to ask y'all, what did y'all see on Saturday, September the 17th in the college football world? Matt, I'll start with you if you can remember.
Well, I think the top four teams are pretty they're pretty solidified. That's kind of what I'm coming away with. I think Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, and Michigan are kind of just a cut above everybody else. I think now Michigan's schedule obviously hasn't been very good. They still have to prove. They have some big games coming up, obviously. But the way they played, they've gone out and taken care of their business. That's what you got to do when you're playing subpar teams. They've done it. Us, Ohio State, 77 points. I mean, just offensive showcase. Got Julian Jackson back in the lineup. I think that that just makes it just expands the offense so much more, like just so dynamic. I'm really excited for Julian Fleming. He had those two big catches for touchdowns. I've been hating on him quite a bit actually, but I'm proud of him. He's proven me wrong, so keep doing it. And Georgia and Bama, I thought Georgia wasn't going to cover the spread. They ended up covering it. They covered it by a lot. Georgia played a hell of a football game, just dominating performance. So I just think that Bama obviously dominated too. They played Elton Monroe or something. Louisiana Monroe. I can't fucking remember who they played. But anyways, I just think those four teams have really solidified themselves at the top of college football right now.
Yep, I tend to agree with you on that. I mean, it seems like everyone is clear cut and all that stuff. But yeah, Brady, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm with Matt. I think the top four is solidified. I also think the top five is solidified as well. I think USC is maybe that kind of solidified themselves as being that fifth team. But yeah, the top four, you got Michigan, even though they've played awful teams, they still have beaten those teams down like they should. And based off of what they have returning, Ohio State, obviously more. I didn't expect Toledo to give 77 points. I knew we would score more than those other teams by a little big margin against Toledo, but 77 points is absurd. And I'm really happy about our offensive showcase. Defense was There were some bad plays, but when those big plays weren't happening, we were fine. We didn't get gashed. We just kept, which is good. Last year we would get gassed by these type of teams, but good weekend overall. Very some entertaining games. Penn State Auburn was entertaining. Obviously, we like to watch Ohio State, so that was entertaining. And I've just taken away the fact that I think the receivers this year are really good once again. I think Jordan Addison, he's living up to the hype. I might have been a little bit wrong on him. I thought he was. Honestly, didn't think he had the talent of some of these other guys. Do I think he's the best receiver in the country? No, I don't think that. But does he have an argument to be top 5 or even top 3? Yeah, he does. Like, This dude is going. He has 5 touchdowns. He's tied for second in the country. The first is a Vanderbilt guy that's played an extra game. He's actually tied with Marvin Harrison Jr. They each have 5. So yeah, like Jordan Addison's very good. And I just really, I really think we've got a good season ahead of us.
Yep, I would say. I mean, Ohio State obviously on offense. I mean, it just looked productive as heck. I mean, you look at a quarterback grading scale, obviously it's from 0 to 100. All right. CJ Stroud was a 99.4 out of 100, basically. So he was damn near flawless. 22 for 27, 367, 5 touchdowns, no picks. Same amount of touchdowns as he had completions. Ohio State also ran the ball well. 44 carries for 281 yards, 6.4 yards a pop, and 5 touchdowns on the ground. I know they're playing Toledo, but Toledo, as we said, is top of the line MAC school right there. I will say Toledo did also run the football pretty well, I'd say. They ran it for almost 4 yards a pop, 124 yards on the ground. A lot of different guys got some carries for them. But overall, Ohio State obviously put their pedal to the metal and put up 77 points. I mean, shoot, some basketball teams only put up 77 points in the college level. So, I mean, they were out there cooking. But I think you touched on it for just a second, kind of glossed over it. Penn State and Auburn. I know Auburn was 2-0, and they looked as though they weren't ranked, but they looked as though they was frauds. And Penn State came out there. This was the first time that Big Ten team played at Jordan Hare, and it might be the last time a Big Ten team plays at Jordan Hare because Penn State absolutely smacked the shit out of them. So, I mean, what y'all take away from that? I know Sean Clifford. I know y'all have your opinions on Sean Clifford. I have an opinion on Sean Clifford too. I think we all agree on it. But what y'all think of Penn State though? We play him in about a month and a half or so.
Man, I think they're. I've actually had this opinion. I do think they're definitely better than Michigan State, which I'm not just saying that because Michigan State just got beat by Washington solidly, handily, honestly. But I've always thought that this Penn State team had the potential and are for sure one of the most talented teams in the league. But can they put that talent together? And can they play a full football game on both sides of the ball? And that's exactly what they did here. I think Sean Clifford settled in this game, and he played a good game, to be honest with you. I think they got the best freshman running back in the country, Nicholas Singleton. Still really wish we got him. I'm not going to lie. I know we got Trey Mayan, but him, oh, man. Nick Singleton's a beast. And their other freshman running back, Katron Allen's good as well. They have a bright future. The receiving core is solid with Parker Washington, Mitch Tinsley. And then their defense, man. I think Joey Porter Jr. is a top 3 corner in the country. Man, he's really physical, and he's long. He's a matchup nightmare. And I think when they play the Buckeyes, that's at Penn State. This is going to be a top 10 matchup in my opinion. I think Penn State at 22 is ridiculous. They obviously moved up to I believe 14. Yep. Still think that's low. I think that's based off of what happened last year. And usually what happens with Penn State is once Ohio State beats them and once they lose another game, they give up on their season. They start losing to a team or two that they shouldn't. If they can build up and if they can go in and against Michigan, at Michigan, I think they have a shot. And even against Ohio State, man, their roster is I'm not saying they're better or more talented by any means, but they honestly match up pretty good against Ohio State this year, which is a little, scares me a little bit because I'm not going to say they're a passing offense, but they throw the ball a little bit. Even though they have Sean Clifford, they got those receivers. Our corners have been bad so far. Cam Brown has been average. Denzel Burke has been awful, and he needs to change that because last year, for a freshman, he played good. He played good coverage, and I think that this Penn State
team –
coming
back. He's coming back, all right? Don't talk crap about Denzel. He's coming back.
Okay. That's fair. And I think he has that ability. I think he has the ability to be good. I don't think he's just some bad corner that's out there. Anyways, I also think Joey Porter Jr. out there on an island is we're going to have – Marv's going to have to work out there because he's, our ex receiver, out there. And they also have a good safety, I believe, named Jair Brown. We have a Jair Brown as well on our team, but him against Jackson, we'll see we'll see how that goes. I expect JSN to put him and give him some work, but man, Auburn, Penn State, Didn't mean to get off track, but, games like this, we have to talk about what it means for the future as well. So, I think Penn State's a top 10 team, personally.
There you go. I mean, that's October 29th. We're not too far from that game. It's going to be obviously a big game. Looking at it, Big Ten opponent, and I mean it's going to be circled on our schedule. But another game is going to be coming up October the 8th, Michigan State. But they lost to Washington 39-28. Matt, what are your initial thoughts looking at Michigan State with this loss?
They're very overrated. I think they're the fourth, maybe fifth. We'll see how good Maryland is this week. They might be the fifth best team in the East. Truthfully. Yeah. I think they're solid. I think they're a top 25 team. Like I said, we'll see how good Maryland is this week. But I think they lost with the loss of Kenneth Walker. Now, obviously, they have a lot of good – Jalen Reed back again, Peyton Ford, guys like that from their offense. But it's just something was missing. I'm not exactly sure what their defense played terrible against Washington. I mean, it was on the road at night. I thought they would cover. I thought they would win. They didn't. I think they're very overrated. I don't see them beating Penn State, Michigan, or us this year at all. I see them losing 4 or 5 games, which is back to the average, Michigan State that they've been for a few years now, since Mark Antonio really left, really. And even before that, he kind of had the bad years that ended up with him leaving and retiring or whatever. So I just think that in terms of them being as good as they were last year every year on a consistent basis, I don't think they're there yet. I think Mel Tucker's a good coach. I think they overreacted by paying him as much as they did that early. I think that's a crazy amount of money to pay a guy that just had one good year. So we'll see. I think they're going to be a solid team. I think they win 7 or 8 games. But the number 11 ranking here, very, very misleading. Very misleading.
I'll tell you another thing. They averaged 1.4 yards per rush Saturday night. 1.4. 29 attempts for 42 yards. I mean, Washington had 2.9 yards per attempt, but they were very efficient passing the football. But man, Michigan State could not get it going on the ground. It looked like they were really, they were really flustered and uncomfortable. Their offensive line just kept getting pushed back, and they couldn't really find any holes or get anything going on the ground, which obviously opens up the pass. And, that with the pass, I mean, Peyton Thorne had to, really had to force some things. He 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 323 yards. But, he also did have the lone turnover. So, Michigan State's going to be interesting to see how they tried to progress with, the fact of them, as we all think that they are an overrated football team, see how they can progress throughout the season. And also, I think Brady was talking about this game, Oklahoma, Nebraska. Scott Frost wasn't there. Oklahoma was 6. Nebraska came out and had a very convincing opening drive touchdown. And then all the passing just left. And you got the score margin correct. 49-14.
Well, look at you, Harry. Look at you, Big Harry, with the score prediction right. Congratulations. Nice job.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I really appreciate it because I thought this game out tough, and I'm just sitting here thinking, will Nebraska come out motivated to prove that they didn't need Scott Frost, or will they come out and play like Nebraska? And
they played like Nebraska.
They did. Yeah, they played like Nebraska, but this is the worst. This is the worst Nebraska loss I have seen in a couple years. Like, Nebraska usually does not get blown out like this. They usually lose in a close game. But once I saw them against whoever they played, Southern Illinois or whoever it was the week before, I don't even remember. Oh my,
Georgia Southern.
It was Georgia Southern. You're right. But still, either way,
Northwestern lost to Southern Illinois this week. That's what you're thinking.
Yeah, okay, that is what I was thinking. But Georgia Southern. And I'm just sitting here like, wow, Oklahoma's going to kill them. And I don't even think Oklahoma's like a world-beating team. Like we said, there's a top 4, top 5, and then the rest. Like, it's not like this Oklahoma team is pushing to be a national title contender. It's a solid OU team with a new coach They come out here, and Nebraska's defense looks atrocious. Like, their offense got going early, scored that touchdown. Then it really wasn't doing much, and Oklahoma just rolled. So, Nebraska's a terrible team.
Yep.
And I shouldn't have picked them to win the West.
Jeez, man, I keep forgetting that. You did pick them to win the West. I picked Purdue to win the West, and they lost to Syracuse. So, I mean, I know Matt was really happy about the over-under on that one. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah, well, that would really gave me some nice money there. Thanks.
Definitely did, and we'll talk about your weekend with the Matt's picks in just a moment. But I think we touched on Georgia, South Carolina. South Carolina just looked, it just was not good, and Georgia's just they're that team. You know what I'm saying? They're the defending national champs, and didn't look like they're missing a beat one bit. What did y'all see from this game? If anything different, or was it just more of the same Georgia football that y'all have seen the first couple weeks?
I mean, I think Georgia's really good. There's not much else to put it. They're better than that. I mean, I didn't think I still thought they'd be a top 3 team, but right now, their offense is looking really good, and their defense is obviously looking amazing. Like, their defense hasn't really missed much of a beat from last year. Not saying they've played some of those teams, but Oregon, solid offense. South Carolina, I mean, Power 5 SEC team, and they're just shutting these teams out. South Carolina scored with 40 seconds against Georgia's backups. So I think this Georgia team's dangerous, and Stetson Bennett's playing like this the first time he's had the job, and this is the first time he's had the job from the spring up until the season. Like, he's looking really smooth out there, making plays. Brock Bowers is unbelievable. I mean, by far the best tight end in the country. This Georgia team is nasty, and Spencer Rattler is garbage.
Yeah, you're right. What I take away from this game is South Carolina sucks really bad.
Yeah, they do. They suck.
The Cocks suck, apparently.
The Cocks, the Cocks suck cock. That's what it is. That's what the Cocks are doing. They're sucking on cock. But anyway,
jeez.
Georgia is really, really, really good. Okay, the way that they use their tight ends and their skill guys is incredible. They were using Brock Bowers on freaking jet sweeps, all kinds of shit. He had big time plays. I mean, imagine that size guy coming downhill at a safety, running like a receiver or a running back. I mean, it's just so they're Georgia is a lot better on offense than I anticipated personally.
Yeah,
I think they're very balanced. Georgia's a good team.
It's not
really good team.
Yeah,
So.
Not a whole lot much more to say on that. I mean, they're number 1. You can't get much higher than that. Than winning a back-to-back national championship, but we'll see how that all goes. And then, number 25 Oregon and 12 BYU was 41-20. This was the game that
give 20 bucks.
Yep, there you go. Yep. You look at the stats in there. Bo Nix was 13 for 18, 222, 2 touchdowns. Does Matt care? Not really. You look at BYU's quarterback, Jaron Hall. He was 29 for 41, 305 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Does Matt really care? Nah, not really.
Nah, not really.
I mean, Oregon did get blown out by Georgia at the start of the season. Do we care about that? We kind of do, but it happened. So not a whole lot going on there.
Not really.
BYU beat Baylor. That was another game that, I don't think we really paid attention to it all the week before.
I paid attention to it. I just didn't.
Okay,
really
you did pay attention to it.
I had a big bet on there, but I was really drunk and was just, I don't give a fuck. It didn't fucking whatever. Fuck it.
Yeah, we was watching that game on Sunday morning, man. So that was a whole completely different day. So I mean that's something though. But I will say though, y'all got any other things that y'all would like? Okay, I actually want to point something out. Let's give a round of applause for Marcus Freeman getting his first win against Cal.
Fuck the Irish.
So impressive.
Oh, that was I'm not even I don't even know what the word to say for that is. I mean they won off a failed Hail Mary attempt, which literally was just about another
In the
tip
guy's hand.
yep, it was in the guy's hands and it was, right there. But Notre Dame finally scathed away with the victory after starting 0-2 and Marcus Freeman starting 0-3 in his career as Notre Dame head coach. Any other storylines that we didn't really talk about that really came to your guys' forefront and attention from Saturday?
CJ Stroud is better than Bryce Young.
Okay.
And Bryce Young had 2 picks, and they weren't good-looking picks. You can just tell the arm talent is not up to the level. It's good arm talent, but CJ Stroud makes throws that nobody else in the country is making.
Yep, and I think you look at Bryce Young's stats. 2 balls hit the ground. He had 3 completions that were touchdowns and 2 completions that were to the other team. 13 for 18, 236, 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in a 63-7 win over Louisiana Monroe. The 2 picks is, I'd say it's kind of alarming. Alabama did have a 99.9% chance to win the entire game because, they're playing Louisiana Monroe.
Yeah.
Any other games we didn't touch on, Matt, that caught your attention?
Not games. I just think USC is really good. I watched that game. I think their defense is better than some of the OU defenses that Lincoln Riley had. I really do. I think if you ask me right now who's going to be one of the 4, I think I might lean towards them, depending on how close the Ohio State-Michigan game is and how close Bama and Georgia play in the SEC championship. If everything falls the way we think it will, I think that they have a chance to be that 4 team. I think Caleb Williams is playing really good football. I like what Lincoln Riley's got USC doing right now.
Yeah. Caleb Williams was 25 for 37, 284 yards and 2 touchdowns on Saturday night. So, obviously he looked good as usual. And then, Jordan Addison 6 for 69 and a touchdown for him that night. Mario Williams had 6 for 77. I know Brady was mentioning Jordan Addison having a really good year and all. I mean, the expectation for USC is what's the bar going to be for them? How high do you think USC can get to by the time we get to December?
I think their offense is it has a good chance to be like the number 2 offense in the country behind Ohio State, which we've been saying was the best for a while. I think USC is that competition. I think they're the competition for if let's say if any team has a chance to be the best offense in the country that's not Ohio State, they have the biggest chance because Caleb Williams has been playing good. And the receiving core seems very electric this year. Mm-hmm. I think they could easily be a top 4 team by that time.
Woohoo! I mean, I agree. I'm 100% with you. I think they're freaking – they just got some really good they got really athletic weapons on the outside that I didn't necessarily buy into other than Jordan Addison. I think they have a lot of really good athletes on the outside. So I like USC a lot right now.
Yep. I mean, USC looking though they're making their way back. They're still at number 7, I believe, going into this week. They play Oregon State. We thought, I don't say we thought, but people down there in Miami-Dade County thought the U was back. Well, the U did this, took the L. All right. So 9 points from the Hurricanes against a team that lost to App State, who App State did win off a crazy way on Saturday. We'll mention that. They beat Troy in their first ever college game day appearance. But Miami, though, they look rough. They looked rough on Saturday night. Any takeaways from this one?
Both teams suck.
There we go.
That
actually works out. Yeah. That works out. Yeah. Van Dyke was 21 for 41, 217, didn't even have a touchdown or an interception. Obviously, they had no touchdowns the entire night. And then you look at Texas A&M, Max Johnson was 10 for 21, 40 and a touchdown. That's pretty abysmal stuff. I mean, the only guy that scored a touchdown, well, actually, he threw the touchdown, but the only guy that had a touchdown on the ground was L.J. Johnson Jr., who had 3 carries for 4 yards and a touchdown, a long of 2. That doesn't make any algebraic sense when you're trying to put that into the equation.
I remember when he was a recruit too. I remember like everyone he was a drama queen. Texas and Texas A&M were battling for him until literally this like national signing day in February, and he like just showed up at Texas A&M and signed that day.
Wow!
And ran for 4 yards apparently.
Yep, on 3 carries, he had a grand total of a yard run, and a 2-yard run, and the 2-yard run wasn't even a touchdown. So, I mean, I don't know. And before we kind of head off this college football bit, obviously we'll be giving our picks and predictions here. You guys will see that on Thursday at noon. Just to kind of foreshadow, what's a game other than Ohio State, Wisconsin that you guys are looking forward to on Saturday? Because we got a couple of ranked matchups that definitely we should keep our eyes peeled for. So Matt, what's a ranked matchup or just a matchup in general that you have your eyes on?
Michigan Maryland is a game that I am looking forward to watching. Just because Michigan hasn't played anybody yet, and we talked about how I think, or in general, I had Raheem Jarrett as one of my 5 or top 10 receivers this year. He's played okay so far, but I think Maryland's receiving core is really, really good. And obviously, Tua's brother Talia is a decent quarterback. Like, he can throw the ball pretty well. So I think Maryland gives Michigan a little bit more of a push early on, especially than what people are expecting. But I really just want to see how good Michigan is. This will be our real measuring stick. I think they're solidified top 4 team. I really do. But I think I got to see it against a decent opponent. I mean, they've been playing the bottom feeders of college football for 3 weeks. It's time to see it. So I'm looking forward to Maryland, Michigan. I really am.
Talia Tagovailoa might have took a thing or two out of Tua's notebook, who's playing fantastic right now in the NFL. And then Ricky Jarrett, 11 catches for 196 and a touchdown. Not to mention Talia is averaging almost 300 yards per game. So see what see the test if he can live up to the test on a big noon kickoff against Michigan Saturday at obviously noon. Brady, what's a game for you that you're looking forward to?
Well, first off, I just want to say I'm also looking forward to the Maryland-Michigan game. Excited to see.
Oh, I took your pick.
No, you didn't. You didn't take my pick. You did not take my pick.
He's saying it nicely, I think, but okay.
I was just agreeing that I am excited for that, and it'll be nice to see.
Well, let's hear your pick.
Not as nice as Clemson, Wake Forest.
Another noon game.
Clemson's first. There's a much better chance that Wake Forest beats Clemson than Maryland beats Michigan.
Yeah, it don't matter. It's Big Ten football versus ACC.
I agree, but Clemson is different in terms of what we need to see. We want to know what Clemson is because right now they're still in the playoff race. And
I agree. That's a good game. It's a good game.
And I think if Sam Hartman and Wake Forest can play some offense and getting a little bit of a I guess they'll need a shootout, even though Clemson's offense isn't great. Wake Forest's defense is bad. Maryland and Wake Forest, the 2 teams we brought up, both have awful defenses and really good offenses. Like, they are right on par with each other.
Right.
And I just think the reason I like this game so much is because I think Clemson's younger on defense this year. It's still an amazing defense, top 5 in the country. But maybe they'll get exposed. But I'm just going to say this: I think Michigan handles Maryland this game due to the fact that Michigan plays offense and defense pretty well.
Yep, and we'll look at all that stuff and do deeper dives on that when the show comes out on Thursday. Before we get into NFL stuff, I'll give you my game. It's the matchup between a quarterback that hasn't thrown a pick and a quarterback that hasn't thrown a touchdown. Florida, Tennessee. Anthony Richardson has thrown 4 interceptions and no touchdowns this year. It's a Hendon Hooker throwing 6 touchdowns to no interceptions. So can Anthony Richardson throw a touchdown? Can the Florida defense, pressure Hooker to throw in an interception? I have no idea. I don't think that's going to happen. It's a 3:30 CBS game. Tennessee's at home. They're number 11 in the nation. They got a lot of stuff riding high right now. Hendon Hooker's playing really good football. Obviously, Jalen Hyatt, 18 catches, 267 and 3 touchdowns. The Tennessee Volunteers have been rolling as of late. They've been averaging good over 550 yards of offense. Had a big win against Pittsburgh on September the 10th. They just look good. I want to see them, again, obviously they got College Game Day going to Knoxville. So, it's going to be a really big day for the Volunteer Nation and all. So I'm just excited to see what they can do. Obviously they have some really big games coming up on their slate a couple weeks from now. But as well, I believe Florida is frauds. Florida has literally escaped every single game they've played in. Utah 29-26. I still have no idea how that happened. Kentucky, I know they lost to them by 10, so obviously they got showed up there. And then South Florida 31-28 thanks to a missed field goal. So I believe Florida's frauds. Florida's defense actually allows more yards than they gain on offense. That's a stat for you, all right? That's a stat. I mean, 373 yards allowed. They give up nearly 200 rushing yards a game. I mean, golly. And Tennessee's running for the ball for about 182 yards a game while throwing it for nearly 400. So I'd like to see what Tennessee can do with a big week coming up. Obviously, yes, we got to hit the Rocky Top. That's one of the best fight songs, obviously, that in college football. But any final thoughts from college football this past week before we move on to the NFL?
I'm good.
All right.
Go Buckeyes.
Well, obviously, that's the goal right there. But as we move into NFL Week 2 reactions, my heart crumbles, but I'm not going to get to that right now. We're going to start off by something that I was looking at on my notes. I have a list sheet that I kind of want to go down off of. All right, Jets Browns. Joe Flacco, Garrett Wilson, new connection. Jets win 31-30. They were down 13 with like a minute 50 to go. Nick Chubb decides to score, obviously a routine touchdown in that time frame. Backfires. Corey Davis, 80-yard touchdown. Get the onside kick off a watermelon kick. Oh, yes, they did. And Joe Flacco leads a game-winning drive against the Cleveland Browns. Is this 2010? Oh, boy. Garrett Wilson back in the state of Ohio. He caught 2 touchdowns. Is he back in the shoe? I have no idea. But Garrett Wilson and Joe Flacco connected with each other to win the game 31-30. And the Jets have won their first September game in nearly 4 years, breaking a 13-game losing streak in this month. And they are 1-1 going to take on my Cincinnati Bengals. We'll talk about that another time. But did any of you guys watch this game? Like, to be straight up, all right? Did any of you guys watch it?
I only watched highlights, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I mean, I saw that. I saw Garrett's plays, and I saw that Joe Flacco looked pretty good for the most part. Man, like I did not think they were going to win this game, like based off of everything, all these score updates I was getting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the Browns were just, constantly moving the ball down the field. It looked easy for them the entire game, but then obviously they just had that late game collapse. So, that's just what happened there. I mean, they were showing the graphics that the Browns. Oh, what was times like when the Browns were 2-0 in 1993? So last time that they were, and they showed all the graphics, and then they blew it. Matt, how'd you feel about I'm going to let you say his nickname, but Garrett Wilson. How'd you feel about Garrett Wilson's performance on Sunday?
Oh, Lord Nicky, baby. I love Garrett Wilson. I got him on my fantasy team. I didn't start it this week. I started Olave.
What an idiot.
He had an okay game, but for now on,
he had 80
yards, right? Garrett Wilson.
Olave ended up with what did he have? 5 catches for 80 or something?
Yes, he did. 5 for 80 right on the dot.
5 for 80. I knew he had something like that. Every time Jameis would throw him the ball, it was about 12 yards over his head. So I was just wondering, like, what ended up being his stat. I was pretty sure he ended up still having a solid game, but
yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, the Jets look good, though. I don't know what happened to Matt right there. But yeah, we'll keep going. We'll get him back in just a moment. But, yeah, the Jets look good. and then we'll get to the Saints. Here's Matt right there.
Sorry,
so-
I had to join on my phone. My laptop.
Hey, all
messed
good.
up.
All
Gotcha.
good, all good. But yeah, I mean, the Jets, though, I mean, I'm not going to ask her the Jets for real because it's week 2. And, you know, we obviously play them this week. And we'll get to our game in a moment. And Matt will have his time to say what he needs to say. But, you know, moving off that one, Bucks Saints brawl. I mean, it was 3-3 when this happened. I mean, I literally about fell asleep during the middle of this game. It was just defense. Tom Brady looked like he was really 45 or 50. Jameis Winston was literally playing with his back blown out. Pause. No, he actually broke some bones in his back, lower back to say the least. So back blown out. Yes. 25 for 40, 236, a touchdown and 3 interceptions. Practically handed them the game. Handed it with a gift, actually. Handed a W to them. He took that's a W. That might be a Crip sign right there. That's a W. He gave them an L. He took the L. So that's Jameis Winston right there. Tom Brady playing passive as hell. 18 for 34, 190 and a touchdown. Did enough to win the game. Mike Evans, though. I mean, okay. So the fight, I think I sent you guys the video, though. But the fight just came out of nowhere. Anytime Mike Evans sees Marshawn Lattimore doing anything that seems to be suspect, he is going to come from behind and literally rock his world. Pause again, all right? But he absolutely destroyed him. I don't know what kind of beef they got going on. I don't know if they saw each other in the streets in New Orleans or whatever's going on with them, but they obviously got serious beef that's been dated back for quite a few years. So from this game I took away, though, the Bucs are still really good. Their defense, I mean, it's going to be tough to really do anything against that defense. The Saints, they can run the football well. Jameis Winston, I mean, a 13.7 quarterback rating, like that's pretty alarming. I mean, the circumstances he's under, I get, but wow. I mean, I don't really have a whole lot from this game. If what are your guys' takes if you saw this one?
Man, Jameis was awful. Like, I watched this game a little bit. From what I saw, he just kept just chucking it, and like he was not accurate at all, and he just takes random sacks, like not just this week but last week. And yeah, he was playing injured, I guess, and all. But also Mike Evans, man, that dude just takes cheap shots. He doesn't when they're not looking too. It's always against Marshawn Lattimore. I actually saw a meme on Ghetto Gronk that was like Buccaneers receivers out today, Chris Godwin, and they would say like their injury, then it's Mike Evans, and then had like Lattimore in parentheses, because every time Mike Evans plays the Saints, he has a bad game, and so apparently that doesn't make him too happy, and he always cheap shots Marshawn Lattimore, it seems like, and they just have a lot of beef. So, but you know, this game kind of was just showing like it was boring. I didn't really enjoy watching it too much.
I mean, this man must listen to a collab of Young Boy and Dirk right before the game, knowing that he's going to be throwing hands and contesting himself with Marshawn Lattimore of all people. Yeah. But you know, I did catch myself almost falling asleep waiting for the Cincinnati game to show up. I did happen to run the mile, so that kind of played into it. But come back home and I'm like, yo, what the hell's going on right now? Is everything all right? Everybody's haywire. NFL Sunday Ticket wasn't working, so a lot of people didn't get to see the fight until, you know, they posted stuff on IG about it. So, you know, that was really that game. I don't have much more takeaways from it. But then the next one, Tua Tagovailoa. I'm not gonna say this, but I mean, some people say he looks like the next coming of Christ the way he was playing. I mean, look at this. 6 touchdown passes to 2 interceptions. He was 36 out of 50. That's 72% for you math people out there. 469 yards. 69 is nice, but the 400 part's even better. The 6 touchdowns through the game-winning touchdown. I mean, everybody on Miami was literally getting the ball. You get a touchdown. You get a touchdown. You get a touchdown. Mike Gesicki hit the weirdest gritty that we'd ever seen on planet Earth. I don't know. If you guys want an Atlanta Falcons type stat, Raheem Mostert had 3 catches for 28 yards. So, I mean, Atlanta Falcons type shit right there. Tyreek Hill was 11 for 190 and 2 touchdowns. Jalen Waddle was 11 for 171 and 2 touchdowns. Both of them having their longest completions being 60 yards. So,
Jeez.
I mean, this Dolphins team looks really explosive. They're throwing the ball well. They only ran for 86 yards as a team, but they're averaging 5 yards a pop. What are y'all taking away from the Miami Dolphins and more of the Baltimore Ravens having a collapse like this? I will say Lamar did play a really good football game. 21 for 29, 318, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and ran for about 120 yards on the ground. So what was the takeaway from this really entertaining football game that combined for 80 points?
So many weapons for Miami. So many. We talked about it early in preseason where we all kind of just agreed that Tua sucked, but he would have a good year just because his weapons were so good. Yeah. I think he's kind of exceeding my expectations of just a good year. He's having a great year right now. Yeah. Now, it's only two weeks in, obviously. It's not a big sample size, but I mean, 6 touchdowns, 50 yards, 50, 60 yards, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like – that shit doesn't happen ever. You know what I mean? Like, that rarely happens at all. So, I think the Dolphins are really good. I think they're going to probably end up being a wild card team if they can keep playing like this.
Yep.
I mean, it's obviously going to be hard for them to win their division with Josh Allen and the Bills. But just so many offensive weapons. I mean, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, Wilson, Gesicki. I mean, they're just loaded. So, they're a dangerous team for sure.
Yep. Brady, what were your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, they definitely have weapons. I mean, like Matt said, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki, Tua looking good. Very explosive. Definitely one of the more explosive offenses right now. And, Lamar looked great as well over there for the Ravens. Having a good year so far for sure.
Yep. And I know it was every AFC North team ended up losing that day, and obviously all the teams, the Browns and the Ravens and those teams ended up choking leads actually in that time, kind of like how it was a very weird day for the AFC North, not a good day for them. And before I get into my team, I got to talk about your team, Brady. 17-14 Patriots Steelers. This game looked like it would have put myself to sleep and probably put everybody to sleep. I mean, what happened? Did you watch any of the game?
Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of boring also. Like 17-14 obviously sounds like a boring score, and it's 100% correct. It was a very boring game. Neither team looked very good, quite honestly. Like it was bad. I mean, our play calling needs to change a little bit. We need to take a little bit more shots down the field and try to get Mitch rolling a little bit, and get our receivers involved a little more than we're doing right now. But there's not much to say about this game, really.
Yep. You want to talk about play calling? That's my daily dose of the Steelers today. Want to talk about play calling? Look at this game. Cowboys,
touchdown,
Bengals. There you go.
Game for Cincinnati.
and the 3 important touchdowns that Cincinnati has scored. Like, think about this. Think about this. We scored 3 touchdowns this year in 2 games, which is terrible. All right. So our first touchdown puts us in a 3-point game against the Steelers, and we had 5 turnovers. Our second touchdown really should have been a game-winning touchdown when Jamar Chase caught that. And then our third touchdown put us in a tie ball game against the Cowboys after looking lethargic, just lethargic. I don't even know what to really say about it. The Bengals offensive scheme, my God, I don't even know what to say. Actually, I know what to say. New and improved offensive line, my ass. But here's the thing. I think
called it. Called it.
What do you mean called it?
Well, I said last week that it was a big struggle, and it just obviously it's not going to get better in 1 week, but it was bad again.
Yeah. And I look so obviously you guys are history buffs for Ohio State and college football in general. I do a lot of NFL stuff, but I do also a lot of Bengal stuff, right? So I'm going to give you a nugget here. And I'm trying to stay very optimistic about this. I'll do a little history thing, and I'll talk about the game for just a brief moment, all right? So, okay. Last year, Cincinnati gave up 10 sacks for Joe Burrow in the first 2 games. We were a 1-1 football team. Should we be 1-1 right now? I mean, the way we've played, not really, but if it isn't for a long snapper, we should be 1-1. But last year though, after the 10 sacks were given up in 2 games, they went on a run. They gave up 7 sacks in 5 games, which is an average of 1.4 sacks per game compared to 5 sacks a game. And Cincinnati went on to win 4 of their next 5 games, putting them in a really good spot. 13 sacks this year. It's actually even worse, and we had 4 new offensive linemen. It's a combination of things. It's Joe Burrow not looking comfortable in the pocket. It's, obviously communication errors here or there. I mean, I saw Micah Parsons literally come unblocked, and I about jumped through the TV, went to Dallas, and tried to block him my damn self. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that are going on there. I think it's offensive scheme. The thing that's really come away from this is, a lot of Bengals fans, including myself, have talked about, obviously, the defensive term that came from Tony Dungy in the early 2000s and late 90s. Tampa 2, all right? That's obviously the too high safety look. It's corners are going to bump and run on the outside, but then after about 5 yards, drop in the coverage on the sidelines, and that allows hole shots in between the safeties and the corners. And then obviously you have a nickel or even 3 linebackers. A linebacker is going to drop deep into the zone, deep middle. And then you got, linebacker, nickel corner, however they play it and all. They're going to be dropping back into these other zones that are, in that hash to numbers area deeper. So basically it's a rush 4, drop 7 scheme. How do you attack that? Well, when you want to talk about throwing, well, that's not the first thing. You want to run the football. Cincinnati's run game has actually been pretty ineffective, to say the least. Joe Mixon's ran the ball 46 times for like 139 yards this year, and it's 3 yards per carry. That's not good enough in the National Football League. It's not good enough anywhere. I mean, the offensive line's got to get pushed. They got to get a bit more push. Joe Mixon's vision, honestly, when I've gone back and watched film, there's holes that are there. He's just being too patient, taking a page out of Le'Veon Bell's book from a few years ago of playing patient, but the Steelers' offensive line was actually good. All right? Joe Mixon, you're not going to see this, but hit the hole quicker, man. It's there. From what we're seeing, obviously, you're on the field. And I'm not a running back expert, but hey, little things that we can take away from this. And then Cincinnati, man, play action passing, all right? I mean, I saw it a couple of times on Sunday. We looked pretty good in play action. I mean, we had a drive that lasted 19 plays for 83 yards, which was the one that got us into the game to go, touchdown, Bengals. You know what I'm saying? So,
touchdown, Bengals.
Touchdown, Bengals.
Bum. Yes, I need to hear that a lot. I need to hear that a lot next Thursday, and also Sunday from our house. But yeah, I mean, it's got to come from the run game, the play action. If you're running the ball effectively, and the play action game's working, so especially stuff over the middle is going to be there. If they're rushing 4 and dropping 7, if you look at how the zones are, you got hole shots, the shallow middle, and then obviously you got the deep middle, very deep middle. If you have protection, you could maybe get a shot or 2 down there. But if you run the football well and play action effectively, that's when your deep shots are really going to come, and that's when Jamar Chase is going to make his money. But until then, until Cincinnati tries to figure that out, I mean, what can I say? And I will say before we move on to this next game, which I think Brady will have, be kind of mad about this one, is this Cincinnati in the second half. They've outscored their opponents 28-6. 28-6. That means we're scoring 14 points per game in the second half. And the only 6 points we've given up were 2 game-winning field goals. Eliminate slow starts, and we're 2-0. All right? That's all I got to say. Now, actually,
Bengals, win the game for Cincinnati.
I do. That is true. But slow starts are just a part of football, which is the problem. But I do think if they change that, obviously,
I think, yeah. And also the other history lesson was this. The Texans started out 0-3 in 2018, ended up going 11-5, making the playoffs. The Dolphins started out 0-2 in 2020, went 10-6, missed the playoffs. They did put the Bills, who went to the AFC Championship. The Giants in 2007 started out 0-2. They played the Cowboys and the Packers, who were the 1 and 2 seeds that year, ended up going 10-6, making the Super Bowl. Am I talking about this? Am I thinking we're going to do this? I have no idea. But, a win Sunday is a great starting point. That's all I'll leave it at. I've talked about it a lot. I'm actually going to talk about the game, the Packers-Bears game in just a moment. But Cardinals-Raiders, I mean, Brady, we talked about this being a very high-scoring game. But this was a very festive game, to say the least. Kyler Murray obviously looked as though he was, a child stealing candy from an even smaller child, to say the least. He was running around in the pocket like there was no tomorrow. His stamina was, crazy and all. He looked like, it was something I hadn't seen before. The Raiders literally gave him 17 seconds in the pocket, which is actually unbelievable on a 2-point conversion play.
Jesus.
Raiders, a lot of problems. The Cardinals, I'm not even going to lie. I know the Cardinals won this game, but the Cardinals do not look good. They really don't. They took them 3 quarters to show up, and they somehow end up winning this game. But any takeaways from what Kyler Murray did late in the game, or how the Raiders executed poorly late in the game?
I believe that he doesn't watch film, because everything he does is crazy, like feet, like staying in the backfield and then just throwing it late and stuff. So I believe that that film stuff, man, like he's wild to watch. Like it's an interesting way to play quarterback. Mm-hmm. But I mean, wow, like that was a crazy game. I mean, I'll say that, like Clemson on Clemson crime at the end. With Isaiah Simmons knocking the ball free from Hunter Renfrow for the score. Yep. Yeah, crazy game.
I mean, this is an accurate depiction of Kyler Murray right now, just running around in the pocket. Yeah, it's literally the exact size and shape and replica and everything of just him running around crazy. Matt, what did you think about this? If you saw any of the highlights or anything like that, what do you think about Kyler Murray in general?
I think he's a really good football player. I just think I agree with Brady. There's no way that's even a thing that the Cardinals ever even put in your contract.
Yeah.
If like it's obvious that that's a problem. Like nobody ever gets that put in their contract if it's not a problem. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
I don't know what the ceiling is for the Cardinals with him as their quarterback, without him becoming a really, student of the game, where he's always, he's watching film all the time. He's trying to get better, this, that, and the other. I just think he kind of wings it. I think that's the best way to put it. I think he just wings it. I think he goes out there. He's very talented, fast as shit, got a good arm. I just think he goes out there and wings it, man. And he's good enough to be a quarterback in the league by winging it. But I don't know how good or how high the ceiling is for the Cardinals with him just doing that. Does that make sense?
Yep, it makes sense.
Yep, definitely. And I mean, we're talking about a lot of that. I mean, whatever Kyler Murray is going to do next week is we don't know. They play the Rams at home, so that'll be interesting to see how that goes. The Raiders off to a 0-2 start, though. They played the Chargers in, week 1. That was a tough matchup, basically a home game, actually. They played the Cardinals this past week. I mean, the problems for the Raiders, it just seems as though that, it's late game stuff. Derek Carr had a good game this week, 25 for 39, 252, 2 touchdowns, average 6.5 yards per throw. They couldn't really run the ball.
You know about Derek Carr, Brady?
What about Derek Carr?
He had a good week. I just know he helped me with my fantasy game this week. I'm not sure.
I know. You could have won by more if you started Garrett Wilson.
That's true, but it didn't matter.
Actually, another thing that's really alarming, I know Devontae Adams had a fantastic week 1, but a dud of a week 2. He was 2 catches for 12 yards and a touchdown.
Not Darren Waller, baby. He got a lot of good touchdowns, baby. Well, wait, did you say Devontae scored?
Devontae did score, but he had 2 catches for 12 yards.
That makes up for it right there. You get a touchdown with only 2 catches. I mean, it's not great, but at least you know what I'm saying?
It's points, yeah. I mean, they went to their 2 best targets on the field, Devontae Adams and Darren Waller, who both made the end zone. So, I mean, not much to complain about from that aspect, but I mean, man, the Raiders, something's going on with them. So we're going to check in on them next week when they play the Titans, a battle of 0-2s on Fox. and then we'll go down to the Sunday night football game, the Packers and the Bears. I sent Brady a message earlier. I don't know if he saw it yet, but here it is. The Chicago Bears have 28 pass attempts in 2 weeks. Every other team has at least 28 completions. What's going on in the Windy City?
Still terrible play calling, man. Like, and I get that their weapons are awful. Like Dante Pettis, Equinemius St. Brown, Darnell Mooney. Let's be honest, like he's okay, but is he really a wide receiver one? He's not. But I still think they need to let Justin throw the ball. Like, they're not doing anything running the ball with David Montgomery that's that special. Like, chuck the ball down the field and see what happens. Like, you guys are a terrible team, but what do you got to lose? Throw the ball.
That's very true.
Throw the damn ball. Throw the damn ball.
Exactly. That's like Keyshawn Johnson, throw me the damn ball, but hey, there's no really buddy to throw the damn ball to for Justin Fields, but they're gonna have to try it somehow. Yep. I will say, I mean, Aaron Rodgers looked all right. I mean, obviously, this is kind of like his preseason, as it always seems. It seems like week 1's his bye week, week 2's his ease-in week, and then week 3. He becomes a quarterback Karen. So we'll see how he goes against Tom Brady, who's had his number for quite a while, actually.
Yep.
And Aaron Jones had a really good fantasy week, I will say, at like 30 plus points. So I was very happy about that. Before we move on to the Monday night doubleheader, which was oddly enough in week 2, I do want to look at the comments Justin Fields did make after the game on Sunday night. It hurts more in the locker room than for Bears fans, ... They aren't putting in any work. I mean, that's true, but at the same time, I saw a Bears fan kind of react to this, and they're like, I mean, I've been going to games for 20 years. I have season tickets. I go out in the rain, snow, the wind. People go out and watch these guys, and I mean, I'm just saying, I know what Justin Fields means by it. Don't get me wrong. And I get he's frustrated after a very bad loss and a lot of things going on. But, man, when you're at that media presser, I'll tell you, like, they will, any shot that you get, they take your words and they will throw it out there. And they will throw it out like, they'll throw it out there like shark bait in water. And it'll be out there and people are going to see what you said. And it's it might come back to bite you in the butt. So, I mean, is Justin Fields' comments valid enough? I mean, yeah, in a way they are, but I mean, it's not a good look right now because from the stuff that's going on with Chicago. I mean, there's not a whole lot he can do about it. There's a whole lot Chicago can do about it, but it looks ugly in Chicago, and the fact they're 1-1 actually is beyond me. So
yeah,
so there you go. Like a couple other things are beyond me. But Monday night doubleheader, the Bills beat the Titans 41-7. The Bills, Josh Allen.
Wow,
golly, wow, that's right. Oh, definitely. Both losing teams score 7 points, and I think this. I look at this stuff. The Bills, man, they look so freaking good. They really do. I mean, Josh Allen's out there just wheeling and dealing the ball.
Could you imagine if the Bengals played the Bills this year in the playoffs? Oh, man. I mean, just the defensive line for the Bills, man, it would just be brutal. It would just be brutal.
Hey, Matt, I'm going to ask you right now. I'm not going to say this. They do play each other week 17 this year on Monday Night Football. I will say that. So, hopefully Cincinnati's playing for something by that point and have an actual functioning offensive line. But, yes, Buffalo looks scary. I mean, Josh Allen. Look, I mean, Josh Allen. Golly, I mean, I get it. But, man, I mean, they look good on all levels. Stephon Diggs had an amazing game. The defense was flying around, just, forcing turnovers here and there. Ryan Tannehill played like Ryan Tannehill. He played like actually Kirk Cousins' cousin, I would say, on a Monday night. Derrick Henry was literally, it was like he was running into the freaking Great Wall of China, and they were just denying him a passport or anything like that. So, I mean, he could not get through TSA, is all I will say. He told him to go the other way. Derrick Henry could not run the ball yesterday. Is that something we hear a lot of? No. And if the Titans cannot run the ball, or they might as well go back down to college.
I agree.
I mean, that's incredible, though. I mean, they had held to 7 points. It just looked really ugly for them yesterday.
So ugly.
Not a whole lot to really say from there. Josh Allen, though, golly, that guy is good at football. Stephon Diggs, man, he's good at football. The Titans' leading rusher yesterday was Hassan Haskins, of all people, the game legend right there for Michigan fans who probably want a statue over it. But yeah, that's that right there. But then the other Monday Night Football game, that was a little more entertaining, but not a whole lot. The Eagles, Matt's pick, to go to the Super Bowl, actually, and win the whole damn thing. 24-7 over the Vikings. Monday night, Kirk Cousins did come out, and Monday night, Kirk Cousins did throw 3 interceptions. Did not look good. He was actually their leading rusher for the night, believe it or not. He had 20 yards rushing. So, Dalvin Cook didn't run the ball well either. And Jalen Reagor's revenge game went so well. I didn't even realize that he was in the game at parts of the time.
I did.
So yeah, so obviously that did not go well. Justin Jefferson literally got clamps put on him by Darius Slay, and Darius Slay apparently plays for the Vikings because Kirk Cousins just kept throwing the ball. Oh wait, he's an Eagles defender. Sorry, Jalen Hurts, 26 for 31, 333, a touchdown and an interception. He had, I believe, he had 2 rushing touchdowns yesterday. He looked really good in that Eagles team overall. Matt, I mean, you picked them to go to the Super Bowl. Everything looks like it's coming to fruition through 2 weeks. Obviously, we have a long time till that day happens. But what do you think about the Philadelphia Eagles so far?
I mean, it's everything that I thought they would be, maybe even better. Jalen Hurts is playing just incredible football. Throw the ball. Throwing the ball down the field, deep shots. That was his biggest mouth coming in. Can Philadelphia throw the ball down the field? They now have a superstar receiver, with A.J. Brown. Or maybe not superstar, but definitely top 10 on most people's list receiver. So they've got the talent on the edge. They've got the skill guys. They have the best rushing offense in the league. They run for more yards per game than anybody else in the league. Over, I think it's like 165 or something around there.
163 last night, actually.
Yeah, there you go. So they run for that per game. Like, it's just, they are a great offense, very balanced, and they're just hitting on all strides. I mean, over 300 yards. They're very hard to prepare for is really what it comes down to, because the vertical passing game, they have the quarterback run, and they're able to run the ball with the running backs as well. So it's really difficult, because most teams in the NFL, you're not going to have necessarily a vertical passing game, a running quarterback threat, and being able to hand the ball to the running back consistently. They got all 3. So it's really a difficult team to prepare for. Their offensive line's really good. Their defense actually is really freaking good too. You said last night, Darius Slay putting the clamps on Justin Jefferson, who a lot of people think might even be the best receiver in the league out of the Cooper Cup, maybe even better than Cooper. So, like I said, it's looking like a good pick so far, I guess, but there's a lot of football games left. I'm not going to get too ahead of myself, but the Eagles definitely do look really good right now.
Yes, they do. Brady, any takeaways from this game?
Basically just that the Eagles are as good as Matt said, and I also thought they'd be good, but not this good. Just like Matt was saying, I did not think they would be this fluid this early. I thought it would take some time, maybe even for the connections to all connect, and for Jalen Hurts to settle in. But he's already settled in. Darius Slay played an amazing game against Jefferson. Like he said, Jefferson may even be able to say what's up to Cooper Kupp. Nice. But I just think that the Eagles are a good team, and that Jalen Hurts is looking good, A.J. Brown looking good, and obviously Darius Slay just played the best DB game of the year so far, I would say, personally.
Most definitely. I mean, this was, obviously not the best looking doubleheader Monday Night Football, but we did see two really good teams that are, looking like it played.
Is this Matt's Super Bowl prediction? Eagles versus Bills or Chiefs?
I think it was Chargers. Was it Chargers?
Oh, Chargers.
It was Chargers. It was Chargers. If I had to pick right now, it would be Bills. But pre-season, it was Eagles Chargers. So we'll see.
Man, I don't want to like make like a like pick this early because there's only 2 games in, but my like quarterback list, Josh Allen might be my number 1 guy. I know I don't want to overreact.
Yeah.
But he's just that good. Like
It might be now, yeah, for me
and then-
too.
right. Like, and
I
I
don't
would still have Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Herbert and Burrow, Herbert, right there as well.
Yeah.
I'm not going to overreact, and Tom Brady as well up there. Still. But I don't want to, overreact. But man, Josh Allen is really good. I mean, that guy is an absolute stud. And Stephon Diggs. I mean, every time they need a first down, and Stephon Diggs is down here, he just flicks the ball with such ease, and it just hits Stephon right there. Stephon turns upfield. Stephon's running great routes. That connection is really good.
I have no idea how Stephon Diggs gets it up. I don't know. Wait, he runs great routes, and people decide to. Literally, it looks like people go man to man on him, which is insane.
It's stupid. It's unreal.
It's unreal how they're able to do things in Buffalo. But tell you that before we wrap things up, one game that we did not talk about that you want to bring up for a brief second. Any of you guys? Detroit. I'm telling you, gotta talk about them. Yes.
Listen to me. They have a chance to win the North. They really do. Their offense is explosive, man. I'm telling you. They've got weapons all around them. The way Amon-Ra St. Brown is playing right now, woo! You talk about a freaking steal fantasy-wise. Getting him in the 5th or 6th round. I mean, he's got to be one of the top 2 or 3 scoring receivers in the league right now.
Yep. He was 9 catches, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
On Sunday. I mean,
DeAndre Swift, obviously, they can run the ball. They can hit the big play, but they can also, run the ball in the red zone. Hawkinson as well, tight end. So if Jared Goff keeps playing the way he's playing, solid football, he's got the weapons around him. The Lions can make a run in the North. I really do.
Talk about this though. Detroit ran the ball for 191 yards on Sunday. They averaged 8 yards per carry.
Yeah,
8 yards a pop.
It's nuts.
It's insane how they're able to do that. And Jared Goff, like I said, 20 for 34, 256, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Aiden Hutchinson, wow, what a day. He had 3 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss, and 5 solo tackles. He has been an absolute game wrecker. You go on. Yeah. I mean, Detroit's one of my second favorite teams up there, so I got to talk about them a little bit. And I'm glad you brought that up, Matt. Really, really glad you brought up Detroit. We're gonna talk about them more on the show, though.
He's still not as good as the Bosa brothers. If anyone tries to say that,
and like I said, there's a lot of football left to be played, so we'll see how everything plays out. Brady, a game that we didn't talk about that maybe you want to mention.
I'll just mention the Colts Jaguars because the Colts are a joke. I mean, you play the Texans and the Jags and you have no wins after 2 weeks. It's terrible.
Insane.
And
and not to mention they got shut out.
They got 0 points against the Jaguars. And you just made Trevor Lawrence look like, I don't know, Tom Brady or something. I don't know what to compare him to, but he actually had a good game and Jaguars looked solid. Maybe his pregame speech was really good this time, but
yeah, exactly.
I think the Colts still win the division. Mark it down.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, the Colts have had some really slow starts in the past to make the playoffs. But
they certainly still could. I mean, it's not like they have tough competition, but you know what I'm saying. Like
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely surprised as well. I will give you that.
Mm-hmm. I clearly I expected them to start 2-0, obviously, or 1-1 because of the trends that Jacksonville. They apparently go down there and just turn into legitimate dust. But Matt Ryan turned into dust. It looked like 16 for 30, 195, and 3 interceptions. Jonathan Taylor didn't even run the ball 10 times on Sunday. It was 9 for 54, and then literally it came down to Ashton Doolin being there. Number 1 receiver that day. He had 5 catches for 79 yards. Guy went to Malone University. I think Malone's Division II.
Yeah, I think they are.
It's not enough carries for the best player, the best running back in the league, fantasy wise or whatever. It's just not enough. You got to get him more touches. You can't go into a game and get your best player only 9 touches. Like, it's just not how you win. That's not a winning recipe. You got to find more. I don't care if you're down 10-0 or whatever the score is. Like if you're a running football team, you got to stick with what you have. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Exactly.
Change up the scheme, get them the ball in different ways, running the ball.
Right, 100%.
Exactly. I mean, the Colts' offensive line is good. It's just the fact that, exactly. It comes down to schematical changes that need to be made, especially in times where they're down at 14-0 or they're down 17-0 to the Jacksonville Jaguars of all teams. And like I said, Trevor Lawrence was 25 for 30, 235, 2 touchdowns and no picks. And the $84 million man, Christian Kirk, was 6 for 78 and 2 touchdowns. So did they get their money's worth? I mean, it looks pretty good right now for them. $84 million. I don't know, maybe $84. But hey, Jacksonville is actually leading the AFC South through 2 weeks. Which, if you told me Jacksonville would lead the AFC South at any point in this season, I'd call you crazy. But there's a lot more things I could call some people. But yes, I mean, hey. That's NFL reactions week 2. We did college football reactions. It was a pretty wild week of football to say the least, and on Saturday and Sunday. And we got a lot coming for you guys in the in the next couple of days, as always here at the Cut the Chase Sports Podcast. You guys got any final thoughts about anything coming up?
Nope, just ready for another week of football, baby. We'll see you guys. Well, it'll be on Thursday for you, but we're going to record tomorrow night. For the Matt's picks, Brady's picks, Chase's picks.
Sure.
We're ready to rock and roll for another week of football. Here we come. We're on them.
Turn them and burn them, baby. I'll burn it over to Brady. What's going on? What's your final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Again, honestly, just what Matt said. Ready for this week. Ready for this week of football. Very excited, obviously, and ready to get going.
Yes, sir. Man, and we obviously got a lot more things coming up for y'all. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. See some more TikTok videos coming out, just stuff from past interviews, clips from the show, funny moments. Because trust me, we've had some funny moments on this show, that's for sure. Another thing, I think we need to get something made for that. It's a couple of different quotes. Golly, a couple of Matt's different quotes to turn them and burn them, touchdown, Bengals, like that, and a couple other things. So, I mean, with that being said, Chase Yance, got Brady King, Matt Ricketts, the trio, the panel, and we was in the cut. Now we out. We'll see you tomorrow or Thursday. You'll see you guys. We'll see you, all right?
Hey, we'll see you guys.
Yep. We're on.